All right, that was then. This is now chapter 6 quiz. Number 1. After Charlie's death, what does Brian do? A, he hunts for his killer. B, he visits his grave, Charlie's grave. C, he spends more time with Kathy. Or D, he ignores Mark because he blames him for the death. Number 2, provide evidence from page 91 for your answer choice. So whichever answer you chose here, go back to page 91 to find the evidence. Don't forget, use proper punctuation. Start with a quotation mark, put both parts of the parentheses at the end with a quotation mark. Use Hinton, which is the author's last name, capitalize the H, and use the page number. Also, don't forget the period at the very end of the sentence. Number 3. That night, Kathy and I went for a drive. I wanted to tell her about my new approach to getting a job, but before I could, she said suddenly, "I think Eminem's smoking marijuana." She sounded worried. I was puzzled. So what? She gave me an incredulous look. So what? Have you smoked it? Yeah, I said. You haven't? No. Which of the following synonyms of incredulous best fits this passage? Keep in mind how I read this line and the tone of voice that I used. So she gave me a shocked look. She gave me a doubtful look. She gave me a suspicious look. She gave me an impressive look. If you're not sure what one of these words means, you can raise your hand, call a teacher over, and we can help you with that part. Number 4, Brian starts to think about Kathy in a more serious way. How is he thinking and feeling about her? A, he wonders how he ever lived without her. B, he admits to himself that he loves her, but just to himself at this point. C, he thinks that he loves her and should tell her. Or D, he wonders why anyone would ever bother saying I love you because it's corny. 5, how does the setting, the location of the ribbon add to the suspense in the text? A, it's a hangout for adults where kids aren't allowed. So there is a tone of danger present. B, it is the place where Charlie died. And since neither Brian or Mark have dealt with their feelings, we as readers aren't sure what is going to happen. C, it's a hangout for teens where reckless behavior is common, so it's just a matter of time before something else dangerous happens. D, it's right next door to where Mark was hit with the beer bottle and taken to the hospital, so drastic things happen nearby. 6, a couple of blondes in an orange Camaro came by on Eminem's side of the car and made him an indecent proposition. So another word for proposition is invitation. It was an indecent invitation. I thought the kid was going to fall out the window. He was so shocked. So what does the word indecent mean? Provide a synonym or definition in your own words. 7, provide a quote of Mark's recklessness on page 96. Use proper punctuation and citations. 5 points. Please make sure you get all of the punctuation in the right place. 8, how does Kathy feel about Mark's behavior of punching the guy in the Corvette? A, she's impressed and tries to hide it from Brian. B, she's annoyed that Mark would protect her when she didn't ask to be protected. C, she's annoyed that Brian wasn't the one to defend her reputation. D, she is impressed that any boy would take the trouble to try to make her feel comfortable. 9, how does Kathy respond to Brian when he tells her about the time the cops beat him up when he was 13? Use page 99. There is a sentence to find. Provide the direct quote with proper punctuation. 10, I realized right then and there that whatever chance Mark and Kathy had ever had of becoming friends was gone. I had already sensed in Kathy the same hostility toward Mark that he had for her. So what is a synonym or definition of the word hostility? 11, Brian starts to think about how he will feel when he is older on page 100. He wonders if the things he thinks are so important now, like smoking, swearing, and acting cool, will still be important when he's older. He also starts to admit to himself that he doesn't have all the answers. What are these thoughts a sign of? A, self-hatred and disappointment. B, maturity and growth. C, escaping current issues. D, confusion and loss. And also keep in mind this part, he starts to admit to himself at least. 12, animals are often used as symbolism in literature. What is symbolism? What does a lion in particular represent? What does it mean if Mark is described as a lion? There is an old study guide you should use to answer this question. I believe it is chapter 4. The answers are on it. Please make sure you're answering each box. 13. Does Mark still seem to have a power that makes him untouchable? What has he done lately that isn't so helpful? Use book details. Explain what you think will happen to Mark as the book progresses. So to answer this question, complete this box first, what Mark has done lately. That's not so good. And then what will most likely happen in the future. Predict what he's going to do next because of what he's done lately. 14, infer the inner conflict that Eminem is having in this chapter. A, he's upset over Kathy and Brian dating and doesn't know how to talk to them. B, he's tired of being criticized at home and doesn't know how to handle his feelings about it. C, he's angry that Mark and Brian didn't learn anything from Charlie's death and doesn't want anything to do with him. D, he's worried about Kathy and tries to go in search of someone to help him. 15, there is a picture of a rope unraveling on this quiz. It's right here. Which relationship in the book is unraveling? How do you know? Use specific details to prove your points. So put the relationship that's unraveling here, two people. How the relationship is breaking or unraveling. Make sure to use book details. They don't have to be direct quotes, but you do have to provide specific information.